Hi, I'm Carole Robinson. Welcome to this edition of County Happenings in our brand new studio. And we're talking with County Mayor Rogers Anderson about what's going on in the county today.
Isn't this facility? This is in the basement
Oh, yeah.
of the administrative complex.
We used to be the dark hole, and now it's beautiful.
They've done a wonderful job. When the emergency management and public safety moved out overall from Beasley Drive, this area, which is subject to having some water issues, has no windows. So the average employee doesn't want to work down here for those two elements. But it's a perfect setup for our TV crew and the programs that we run out of here, whether they're educational or general public information that we do. It's dark, it's quiet.
And there's lots of room.
Contrast to everybody else wanting windows, their department tries to figure out ways to make it dark. And so you can see the decorations and,
our new
Creve
set.
and Lance, they've done a great job of getting it set up, and Heather, all of the people that are involved here. And you know, sometime I ought to interview one of them or have them on for shows, all the different things they do, from being out in our community with the sports programs where you'd see them most cases taping the shows. But
they go to a lot of events in the schools.
Oh, they're out all the time.
A lot of community events. I'm tripping over them all the time.
Yeah, they are very involved. And Creve was saying this morning, you know, we're always looking for part-time workers. Those high school kids that are thinking about the TV or radio or the behind the scenes of what goes on and how it's pushed out.
And it's changed so much.
It has.
Even in the time that I've been with WCTV, it has really changed.
I'm not saying we don't need to, but we don't do scripts.
No.
I think.
A couple notes here and there, and do we ever keep to them? No.
No, but you know, a lot of places have everything written out on these teleprompters now, so, and it is scripted to the period.
Right.
That you know what to say, when to say it,
when to pause.
When to pause. It's an art to be able to sit down and have a conversation and talk about a topic, and whether you're the interviewee or the interviewer makes a big difference.
And you sit on both ends of the chair.
I have sat on both sides. But you know, talking about part-time, it's a great time to bring up, as you know,
Jobs.
Williamson County is very blessed, and over the last several years now, of having, if not the lowest unemployment rate in Tennessee. Now, a lot of those...
And among the lowest in the nation.
And one of the lowest in the nation, correct. So that's not government. Government doesn't create jobs. A lot of people think they do, but we don't. We're a catalyst or a conduit, call it whatever you want.
You get out of the way.
You get out of the way, let government do what it can do, which is behind the scenes, the infrastructure, which is a whole conversation in itself. We think of infrastructure as roads, but
there's more to it than that.
There's a lot more to it than that. But private business will flourish in your communities if you've got good education, you've got good quality of life, because businesses want to locate. Now,
and you got good people. I mean, that's one of the first things when I family members or people visiting and I'm talking to them, they just can't. They're just so enamored with the people. Wherever they go, the people are kind, they're helpful, they're friendly.
Well, it's encouraging to me. I know almost on a daily basis, I'm out in the hallways, walking from here and there, going to different departments or trying to find a solution to a problem. And there's someone walking in, hunting for, where do I get my car tags? Where do I pay my tax bills? I want to do a research on a title. And just to stop, I mean, we expect that in the South. We really do.
Right.
May I help you, ma'am or sir? That's normal conversation with us. However, I can even tell you that happens in downtown Franklin on the street, where people say, "Howdy, ma'am," and a lot of people aren't.
You look like you are lost.
Yes, because there's something that could I help you find that place. So, but going back to employment, we have great jobs here. When you and I moved to this community, we were raising our family it crossed my mind, where would my kids wind up working? Now, I'm originally from East Tennessee. You're not even from this area.
I'm from all over.
That's right. That husband of yours took you everywhere. And you went with him and he went with you. But today, with unemployment rates being 2.1%, just about everyone is working
Who wants to work?
who wants to work. And that part-time employee, which you and I would think, grew up working from a very young age.
13?
As soon as I could sit on a tractor by myself, I was working in the fields. Now, it may have been from the neighbor, but we had a little grocery store, and when I wasn't stocking the shelves at 12 and 13 and 14, and when I got my chores done at home, you had to get those done.
Oh, yes, yes.
And if you want to play sports, Daddy would say, you can play sports, but
You got to get there.
You got to get there. You got to finish your work here. And by the way, don't forget about your job.
Yes.
And so it was a different time. And so from an early on age, if I needed a new baseball or if I needed a shirt, because we were going to get them around Christmas time. We were going to get shoes and clothes, and you get a few things. But for the most part, if you wanted those extras,
The records.
that's right. You had to purchase them, and so you went to work. Today, and a lot of it's because of the laws. I get all that. I'm not sure it's always good for our children not to have a job.
Yeah.
But
They have to have, even kids need a purpose.
they do.
They need a direction.
I tell the story, and I'm sure you've heard me tell it several times. There's an individual that lives here in Williamson County that owns several restaurants, and he was needing part-time people. He didn't need full-time. And he said he knew he was in trouble when some of the children he was hiring were driving in very expensive cars. He said, I was afraid to make them mad because they didn't need to work
Right.
like I need to work. And there's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a
When
difference.
you've got
Not that it's bad.
When you've got that hunger for it.
Yeah. It's not that it's bad. I have grandchildren, and my children have been, the good Lord's blessed them, and they've got good jobs. But it's important for their children, my grandchildren, to work, to mow, to do things
Right.
outside the house and it gives them some independence too.
Yeah.
That mom and dad aren't always just watching over them, being sure. Sometimes we have to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And as Clint Calicott used to say, we have burnt the biscuit several times, and I still use that term. Or you over-baked the cornbread. It was too dry. Now, those are Southern terms, I'm sure.
But you get it.
You get it. Where does that take us today? You take the guys right here. We need part-time people. We need those high school kids.
You need those kids with the hunger.
That's it, because they're our future. I was speaking recently.
They'll show up.
That's right. I was speaking recently to a group of middle school children. It was Veterans Day event, and I know that's hard. We're in the Veterans Day program. The show is actually being taped a couple of days before the parade and all that. And I know it's hard on parents. You and I have gone through that. But we do need those bright minds in the military. We do need those young, creative men and women that can go into the military and find solutions.
And
yes,
think outside the box, because so many solutions are outside the box.
and so many good jobs come from the military and the space industry and things like that you go and serve your 2, 4, 6, or make a career out of it. When you come out and I hire veterans here at the complex, they're great workers. They will find solutions to problems, and they understand how to get things done in a timely manner. So I guess I'm making a push for part-time people.
Part-time people.
But our businesses need it.
Right.
Our parks and recs need it. We've had to do more and more contract services because we can't find people to work. So if you're watching this show.
Just to work a couple hours a week.
That's it. We could certainly use it. I know Creve right here in the studio. If anybody's interested, just call my office, 615-790-5700, and say, I think I've got an opportunity for you.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can't help you. We need people in our Parks and Rec. Just, we open them up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and many of our 5 o'clock door openers, they're people our age that want to get out of the house. It's not so much the money, they just want something to
Right,
do. So if
right.
you're watching
And
this
get out
show-
with people.
Yes.
Meet people, and, oh, yeah, and the centers are nice.
Centers are nice, and bus drivers, and we've all heard Dr. Looney talk about how he needs bus drivers. I forgot the statistics exactly, but 60 or 70% of our workforce on our bus drivers are well over the age of 65, so it's gonna be an ongoing problem.
Right.
And they're paying $16, $17 and do all the training for you, so, and you get the health
the
insurance.
benefits.
And you get the benefits out of that, so it's just a different time. We're a very
Right.
affluent community. It's very hard to find part-time workers.
And if government's having that trouble, so are
So are the private
so are the
sector.
private sector. So what kind of jobs? We say we've got 2.1% unemployment. What are the jobs that have been brought to Williamson County, and what are the?
Well, digital jobs, IT jobs. You look at these cameras that are facing us, I know the people can't see them, that's all IT today. How they transmit. It's the same thing in healthcare. Here in Williamson County, healthcare is our #1 vocation. No question about it.
And when we say healthcare, we don't just mean doctors,
No,
nurses.
No, by far.
There's
Thank
so
you.
much more to it.
Good point. Behind the scenes, it's when you go into the emergency room, you go into a clinic, they need people from scheduling to that whole gamut. It's a wonderful opportunity. And we have lots of entrepreneurs here that are in the healthcare IT world making things faster and quicker for us. So there's a huge need for the IT profession, digital profession. I would dare say that most everyone anymore has a telephone that they keep on their possession. Now, there's probably a few that don't, but they're very rare.
Very rare.
Very rare. In fact, the old landline phone, I'm sure, is just about been replaced.
Yeah, we're probably one of the few.
Oh, I've
that-
got one too. But I did it for a reason. When Mom was living with me in the latter stages of life, if she needed that emergency, I wanted to be able to pick up
Right.
and they could pinpoint that immediate location. Cell phones often are not as accurate.
Right,
Now,
right.
We're getting better at it. But the fact of the matter of it is we are changing and changing quickly in our society. I was watching television sports events the other day, and cars now, they can stop on a dime, where they've got sensors, where you can back your car up now, you can see a camera, and if you get too close to someone or to another car, it just stops. All the technology that goes into these automobiles, and look at our homes.
But look at the new refrigerators.
Well, I haven't, mine's still pretty old.
Well, I see them advertised where you can actually, the refrigerator tells you what you're low on. You could be in the grocery store and go, do I have butter? Do I need butter?
Well, see, I didn't even know that was available.
Yeah.
I know there is an app now for parents to check on their children at school if the teacher puts in that information. In other words, if my granddaughter would be more like it, is talking a little bit too much. If the teacher wanted to do it digitally, her mother could check on that. And when she got home, we talked.
Olivia, what have you been talking about?
Exactly right. So, I'm not sure all of that is needed,
Yeah.
but I do know it's available.
Available, yeah.
And there are people that want to know and be in contact with their home, their children, their mate, all the time. Want to be able to communicate with them.
I don't get that, but I know it
The
exists.
millennium population, that's very important. My daughter, who's a nurse practitioner, once a week, once every 2 weeks, her and some of her girlfriends, they go out and eat. They don't drive anymore. None of them want to drive. She's in her mid-30s. I won't say the exact age. And so those girls catch an Uber or one of the and it's on her phone, and it may be just to go to Cool Springs. They can get together, they can all come to her house, or she can go to their house, and 3 or 4 of them get in a car, safety in numbers, go over and have a bite to eat, finish the activity, come back, and no one has to drive. And that is just foreign to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and when, in the cars now that they've, I've been reading about the self-driving cars where they can be used to deliver things, and
You
It's
do
just-
not have to go
don't
to
have-
the local supermarket anymore.
Right.
The supermarkets can
Come to
bring it
you.
to you.
Yeah.
And so that's IT. That's this technology. Not all of us are going to totally embrace that. Not that I love going to the supermarket, but I do get some satisfaction out of buying what I want to buy and not just order it in. And I know we all live in this fast-paced world, but that's IT. And that's the way, even I noticed that I go to Publix, I go to Kroger's nearby my house, and I know both of them are setting up where you can order, and when you go there, they'll bring it out
It's
to your
right
car
there,
and you
yeah.
charge it. You don't have to shop anymore.
Yeah. It's supposed to give you more time, theoretically, but we always seem to fill all that time.
Well, I'm not critiquing
No,
that
no,
because we're
no,
in
I'm
that.
just-
I mean,
yeah,
my
that's-
my whole world. I'm a change agent. I'm getting to be an older man, and I embrace technology. I embrace the changes that are required to take us out to the next level of workforce that we're going to have. But by the same token, I still like some peace and quiet.
Right.
And so I think the jobs we're looking for are those IT, those hard-to-find jobs, certainly part-time work. Good men and women are still needed in the workforce that we have today. Your parents and my parents taught us, once you get there, they'll teach you how to do the
Right,
job. They'll
right.
tell you what you need to do. That's even more so today. I'm being told by some of the major corporations here in Williamson County, once they get that employee, then they teach them how they want them to
I remember
do
years
the
ago when
job.
I was doing a story and some research on employment. And one of the things the employers that I spoke with said, we want people who are teachable. They can take an English teacher and turn them into an engineer. Because in the engineering business, they need somebody a lot of times who can document and put instructions down in a way that people can read them. And, it's businesses want people who are teachable.
And I'm finding a great need that is being in the government. I can tell you, is the person that can communicate effectively and efficiently, whether it's through the written word or through the oral word or the written word. Having the ability to write and write effectively with good punctuation and using the correct tense of a verb and all that. That's a very much skilled set because we don't always teach that now in our
Right.
schools. Penmanship is a thing of the past,
With typewriters led to computers, and now that
or texting.
Texting,
We do with
yeah.
our phones. It's short, abbreviated. There's even, what do you call those? Somebody help me out. Where you have the little symbols.
emojis.
Emojis, thank you. When that give you, if you typed in Happy Thanksgiving, there's a turkey that appears
Yes,
up on your
and a happy face.
and a happy face. And so if you don't know what that means, but
Yeah.
those are the kind of jobs of the future, and that
But there's always going to be the other need. And I guess what I'm getting to is we've got all these high-tech jobs that we need, but we need people to fix the cars,
Yes.
fix the heating and plumbing, put in the electrical services.
We could hire 2 people right now for our heating and air electrical. Because we're competing with the private sector, and you've got a community that's growing. Labor costs are out the roof, and I can tell you, in our school business, Dr. Looney shared with us last month, and again this month, we're trying to get a new school. We allowed for a certain amount for the bid process, came in 20% over, and it's all about labor. It's not so much the materials, it's all about labor.
But we need, not only do we need tech training for tech, but we need technical training for other things.
I believe I've heard the conversation said, if you need a job in the Middle Tennessee area,
You'll find it.
you can find it. And you can find it in your skill set.
Yeah, that's incredible. So speaking of schools and
We're about to run
skill
out of
set, yeah. We've got a 5-year capital. They're making plans for the future. They're growing like crazy, so it's got to be difficult to make plans for the future.
We do. The schools present to the county commission the way that model works. Schools develop what the programs they're going to have, the buildings they're going to need, and they're going to present their 5 and 10 year. It's mostly 5. Things change so much. We're talking about change, and growth makes those things change. And this year we're about 1,150 new children. Last year was 1,700, but we're only a couple of months into the year.
Right.
So I suspect we'll get closer to 1,400, 1,500. We'll be a little bit under, but that's extra that you didn't.
Yeah, that's not replacing the graduating class.
No, it's not. So how do you pay for all of these school buildings and things?
And how do you get to a point where you say, we can't build anymore?
Yeah.
What do we do next?
Well, so far, we've figured out a solution to that. It's not been easy. Our cities have gone together to work with us. We're doing things in this county that no one else is doing, and a lot of that is through talking about communication, explaining. When you look at growth, Carole, and I know you know this, the vast majority of your growth is inside those city limits. Because the density of the apartments or the homes or the condos, whatever they may be.
People want to be close to the things they want.
That's correct. And it's more affordable in some of our cities. You get out into the rural area where we don't have public utilities such as sewer. We have septic tanks.
Water. We have well.
We have well. And you got more open space, and that's what people want, and thank goodness they do. But in the cities, it's okay. Those people that buy there inside the cities, in apartments. We probably all lived in an apartment at some point, but I didn't want to raise my family unless I had to into an apartment. But they're still smaller lots, and that's because of the density to keep those prices down. But when you have a community such as West Haven, for an example, or Fieldstone, or Cottonwood, some of the forerunners of what we're seeing today, these homes are built on less than 1 acre lots.
Wow.
They're built on half-acre lots in some places.
Someplace a quarter and less.
That's right. And there's not a lot of room in between them. But the millennials, and oftentimes us as we get older, that's what we want.
Yeah, we don't want to be mowing acres.
That's right. We don't want to be mowing acres. We don't want to worry about landscaping. We want to be able to come in and do what we want to, and travel. If we're older, we want to go see what everybody else is seeing, whatever that happens to be. So as our community continues to grow, we have to figure out how to better deliver those services and pay for those products. We all know we have traffic congestion. City of Franklin, Brentwood, Spring Hill, Top Station, Noblesville, and Fairview, they're all working on trying to find those solutions, working with our state, working with our county. We'll find solutions.
Right. And solutions are kind of emerging even on their own with technology.
Well, and a lot of those solutions and congestion are going to require us as individuals to take personal responsibility. Just like we're having to take personal responsibility for our health, how we eat, how we exercise, smoking, not smoking, all of those things that we really didn't hear a lot about 25 years ago. We're having to do that in our driving habits. You and I both know that most people drive, it's a person per car.
Right.
There's very little carpooling. Our school buses aren't full. And as you develop into this more urbanized society, then we've got to figure out a way to handle some of the traffic. But now I'm telling you, if you go to New York City, Philadelphia, Chicago, or Atlanta, they have all the buses, have all the transit.
And they still have all the
and
traffic.
they still have traffic.
Yeah.
So there is no panacea of a perfect solution.
Right.
But it's a better solution, but we have to accept responsibility.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So in part of the solution is working with the cities and raising the sales tax.
Yeah, one option.
Because you have to pay for those schools and those other things.
Yes, you do. You only have 3 or 4 ways to pay for things, school buildings and services and things like that. You've got the property tax, which ours is one of the lowest in the Middle Tennessee area. Mm-hmm. That's very important to keep that low for the vast majority of the residents. You could do some on the wheel tax.
But we tried that once.
We tried that once. That didn't go very good. It got beat 75%. People didn't want that. And most of us have 2 or 3 cars. Mm-hmm. So now we're trying to give the voters an opportunity in early 2018 that could we raise the sales tax from 2.25 to 2.75. It's your choice. It's your call as a voter. Go vote. I think it's when 28% of the people that live and shop in Williamson County
Are not from Williamson.
not from Williamson County, that's a cheaper way to get things done. But we'll let the voters decide.
And when will they be able to vote?
So the county commission in November, which this show is actually being taped prior to that, once they give the green light, and I feel like they will, then we have 75 to 90 days in which to bring it to a ballot.
So it'll be early spring.
It'll be February that'll be on the ballot, and then we have to open those precincts up so many days ahead. We'll have to do all that. So at the latter part of January and first part of February, before Valentine's Day, we'll know the outcome of that.
Okay. Well, we're almost got to wrap this up, and we've still got a list of things, speaking of not having a script. But we're wrapping it up by just enjoying our new studio. And
Well, have a good Thanksgiving.
yes, and you too, and have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time on County Happenings.
See these hands? They grip the wheel of a Humvee in Afghanistan.
These hands? They're here for the person who fought in Afghanistan.
Confidential help is just a call, click, or text away.
Out of the Wild by David Harris. Sound ricochets through the valley, across the river, bank to bank. From the porch you hear the wails that sound at first like sirens. The dog rises, nervous, and sniffs and stays close. He knows his cousin's call. Just beyond Manhattan's nighttime glow, coyotes haunt these hills. In the morning, you grab the train for Grand Central while wildness sleeps in your backyard.